versus Osprey Shell 2. And this is going to be a very intense match as we see the lineups right there. Shadow Glide
was the Paulino special event runner-up, as well as
we will see the next lineup coming up here as we do have Trevenant making it back. Trevenant was dominant.
Trevenant, so that's going to be weird seeing that Ghost type, I guess, also lose to a Ghost type. And here are the leads. It's going to be Lantern into the Annihilate. The backlines, double Lickitungs as pivots. And then this is the matchup you want to avoid. There is a Gligar versus Skarmory in the back, so alignment in the front is going to matter a lot.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if the Lantern is going to be getting the Surf Shield, and it does. A shield goes up early, but Annihilate can answer right back. Shadow Ball is a move you do not want to let land, but they're looking to go for the Night/Bait.
Sprout2 goes for the bait here. This is crucial. Alignment is going to matter a lot and gets the Protect Shield on the first Night Slash. Can you get the boost as well? No boost here, but you're going to be able to get to that Shadow Ball before the Thunderbolt, so you had to force the Surf Energy, and a Sprout2 knows that this is Surf Energy, but still Protect Shields anyway. I think he is trying to line up that Skarmory in a positive scenario in the back.
Yeah, Annihilate in a great position right here where Shadow Ball, oh, a beautiful catch into the Lickitung, catching the Shadow Ball. Oh my goodness.
Double resisted.
Andrus is going to be smiling from ear to ear as the Shadow Ball is going to be resisted, but Annihilate isn't done yet.
What a ridiculous swap here. You're able to soak all that energy and you're going to be able to. There's another counter swap. A Sprout2 can do it as well, but this time only single resisted instead of double on the Lickitung, and Skarmory soaks that up. And the good thing for Skarmory here is you actually put the Lickitung in range of Sky Attack and the Steel Wing, so you can be quite patient here with how much energy you want to take into the next matchup.
Oh my goodness, good morning, Yura. Back-to-back catches right here. This is going to be an incredible set of battles. Now this matchup, like you said, that lick damage is really going to start adding up, but Skarmory has the opportunity to potentially go for the double Sky Attack to secure the knockout.
Yeah, so here comes the Body Slam. This is not enough to knock out, and you have all that energy, so you're going to be able to Sky Attack. You can't really Steel Wing down. The crucial thing is the timers are coming up. The timer is up right there, but no, there's actually a half-second remainder on Andrea's timer, so she couldn't swap it even if she wanted to, but I think it's actually pretty good to soak up a full Sky Attack energy on such a low health Lickitung, but she will have a swap available. You could go for the Peekaboo, you could come in Gligar and then swap into the Lantern. Ooh, do we see the Peekaboo? No, Peekaboo.
Brave Bird will be able to land. We'll see if a final shield is given up. This is going to be resisted, but mind you, this is a Brave Bird, and this might just knock out.
And it
does! It does!
Wait, it does knock out the Lantern, you're right.
Now it's going to be Shadow Gligar versus Lickitung. Two Pokemon still left in the back. No shields remaining, but guess what? Those Pokemon act as a shield for the endgame, so this is going to get incredibly close.
And here comes the dig into the Lickitung. The Lickitung is in range of the next dig. There is one Protect Shield remaining for Andres, deciding not to use it, trying to save it maybe for the next Body Slam here. The trouble is there is energy on that Skarmory as well. There's 3 Pokemon remaining for a Sprout2, and it's only the Gligar for Andres.
Yes, but the switch clock, mind you, is 60 seconds, and Lickitung is just praying that the clock can come up so Annihilate can come in and catch the charge move, but the dig, unfortunately, is going to be landing, and this is going to knock out the Lickitung.
This will knock out the Lickitung, but the Gligar still has so much work to do, able to secure that one, but you need to take out the Annihilate and the Skarmory. And
oh, it has a Shadow Ball! What were we even thinking?
Yeah.
We were so caught up with all the catches, we forgot Annihilate is annihilating today as the Shadow Ball will be landing. See you, Gligar.
Taking that knockout in game number 1 for a Sprout2. Yes, banked all the energy. Remember,
come into the Play Pokemon Tournament Series. Speaking of getting started, we're getting right into the battle. Lickitung here versus Lantern.
And this is ideal for the Lickitung. It is why a lot of trainers, I mean, first of all, Lickitung is just so safe, but it is the pseudo grass type that you usually use. Some trainers have been using Cresselia as well. Cresselia is on this team as well, but the crucial thing is if Lantern is able to Protect Shield the Power Whip, it's actually not terrible for Lantern.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Oh, we do see a swap out here as the Lickitung comes into the mirror. They're going to go ahead and bring in the Annihilate. Now, Annihilate has a unique situation here with Night Slash. Going for it instantly. You do not want to overload on energy when you're against a Lickitung because you want to try to fish for that boost, and the sooner you get it, the better. But what's great is you can come in and fully farm down this Lickitung, but you do have to watch out for the Power Whip.
And this is such a tough 50-50 here, because if you ever let a body slam go, you'll get so far ahead. But deciding to properly shield the power whip, because it's so risky to just go for that bait there. And now this Annihilate is in range of just countering down before the power whip is available. This Lickitung throws, actually throws the Night Slash. I don't know if you need to throw it in this situation, because the Lickitung would not get to a power whip, so you could have possibly saved that energy for the back line.
I think that was a safer play though, right? Lickitung one of those Pokemon where it's kind of hard to keep track of energy, especially on the swap when you had your own Lickitung, and they were at the body slam. But yeah, I think that's just a safer, more conservative play right there, knowing you still have excess energy. You're gonna be able to get to a charge move against any Pokemon on the back end, and the Altaria here gonna respect the potential Shadow Ball.
Yeah, but she gets the Protect Shield on that Night Slash and swaps instantly. You can't see if there was a boost there. Swapping into the Lantern. There is a Lantern in the back for a Shrieltu, and maybe you try to swap into attack, but the thing is, you're going to be swapping into a Thunderbolt, because there's no way you're going to be throwing a Surf into this Altaria.
Now, Andrus Lickitung still has the Power Whip ready to go, as we do see a swapping into the Lantern Mirror, and that is kind of unfortunate. You really wanted to try to land a Thunderbolt and put that electric pressure against the Altaria, but unfortunately it escaped, and now we're going to be seeing the Mirror Match.
And a lot of trainers have opted more for Lantern, it seems, at EUIC this year. Charjabug has obviously been the Pokemon that has climbed up the meta, usually the electric type of choice, because you're a little bit stronger against those fighting types, but there's just so many Lanterns here in London, and it's a Lantern Mirror right now, and Andres is kind of in the situation that a Shrieltu was in that game #1. She might be able to come out of this with 3 Pokemon remaining if this Thunderbolt is enough, but she thinks it's not.
Yeah, this is going to be close. The opponent Lantern is going to be able to fully spark down right here just before the Surf. Ooh, that was a bit close. Lots of energy loaded. Annihilate. Oh, the Peekaboo!
The Peekaboo!
There it is! There it is! Able to catch the Thunderbolt here, and then going to go ahead and go for an aggressive farm down. We're going to see a Lickitung versus Altaria matchup. Double body slams ready to go.
A shocking turn of events there to bring in that Pokemon to absorb the Thunderbolt. And here comes the body slam. This is not enough, so you're going to need Licks plus another body slam. Can you get there in time before the Sky Attack? I think this is almost going to be enough.
Ooh.
You're almost at the double body slam, but if this is not enough, Shrieltu might get to that Sky Attack.
I think the Altaria has the Sky Attack after that last Dragon Breath. Let's look. No, one more! Oh, wins a charge attack priority, able to get it just in time. Altaria is going to be able to hang on and knock out the Lickitung.
Oh, that was so close, and Andres is going to get knocked out there. Shrieltu does take this game. Look at those highlights, because we had so many amazing catches, specifically from Andres, and this is the double resisted on the Shadow Ball. Woo. And look at the timing of that too.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't an obvious swap. It wasn't at Shadow Ball energy, so that was a huge play from Andres.
That's the kind of play where you're wondering at home, how did they know to swap? Like, it's not on the energy. You couldn't count the charge move. It's a feel. These trainers have been playing for so long against the best players in the world that you get a feel. You have an inkling like, you know what? Now is the time to swap, and sure enough, it was.
Yeah, exactly, because a lot of trainers will be patient because they know they might try to swap, and then they don't throw the energy right when they have it. So it is this mind game of thinking when the opponent is going to be swapping, and you don't necessarily even need the Ice Punch to take out a Gligar if you're Annihilate, because you can just get all the way to that Shadow Ball.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing the Night Slash in favor of Ice Punch, because you don't necessarily need it for the Gligar. You can still hit incredibly hard, and now you have better neutral matchups and the potential to boost. And there's the Peekaboo right there that we saw, able to catch the Thunderbolt. What a beautiful set of battles right there. That is definitely championship battle worthy, and this is only day 1.
Yeah, it's so tough because Andres was literally just moments away from tying up the series, really doing all that she can with those Peekaboo moves, with those swap-ins, but Shrieltu was just so dominant throughout. I feel like really patient, and the energy management was well done throughout that series to take it 2-0.
Yeah, we didn't see Trevenant though come into the fold of that last set of battles, but it was a double flyer team, which is just noticing now. He did have the Skarmory and the Altaria, 2 different options. Lock in as we see, we do have Arceus Aurelus versus Christie.
Yeah.
Has that added fairy typing, which allows it to do a bit better. Now, Clodsire, as we see here, is
trainers to just do really well with that by bringing a completely different team in his opponent. Feels like you don't prepare for these teams, but when you're in the European region, you gotta prepare for everything, and it's gonna be the Poliwrath into the Mandibuzz to start. I think after an Icy Wind debuff, you actually are not gonna get knocked out by double Aerial Ace, so that's actually a crucial benefit for the non-Shadow Poliwrath, and actually just letting the first Aerial Ace through, and then maybe the second Aerial Ace won't knock out once the debuff happens.
Look, Poliwrath's built different, right? Having access to Icy Wind in a matchup where you're against a dark flying type, you can do super effective damage with Icy Wind. You can do neutral damage with counter. This matchup isn't as bad as you might think, and it actually forces a swap out.
And here comes the Shadow Poliwrath, which just has so much more firepower with that 20% increased damage, but of course takes 20% more damage as well. Gonna take the Icy Wind, didn't go for the Scald. You could go for the 50-50 debuff on there, but the Icy Wind is the guaranteed debuff, but you actually bring in the Lickitung to soak the energy?
Dude, this is upside down, topsy-turvy. We are playing backwards here today. Flyers swapping out of fighters, normal swapping into fighters. This is different, but the thing is, the reason why it's different is the ability to knock out, right? Lick and Body Slam can perfectly handle a Poliwrath at this health range.
Yeah, and it's gonna land the Body Slam here, and it does secure the knockout, and suddenly you're gonna have a tough time taking out this Lickitung. Yes, you are gonna resist the licks, and the Body Slam's not gonna be too much, but this Lickitung does have a decent amount of health remaining, and of course, Lickitung is one of the best Pokemon out there at getting back to your timer because it's so bulky, it gets those Body Slams pretty quickly. I expect the timers to come back, and here comes this Clodsire trying to maybe swap on a Body Slam, but it's gonna take a Power Whip instead.
Oh man, Clodsire versus Clodsire endgame right here, as we will see a Body Slam land. And this is what I love about Mandibuzz, especially when I use it myself. You always want to have stored energy on a Mandibuzz. The worst place to be in is not having a charge move ready to go. And we saw that with Arceus Aurelus swapping out with a lot of energy, as we do see the Poliwrath look to come in. But even a Stone Edge here would knock out the Poliwrath.
Yeah, just to go for the safer route because Stone Edge is resisted, going for that Earthquake here, and now you did soak all that energy with a low health Poliwrath. I actually quite like that play from Cristiati, and here comes the Lickitung back in, and of course you do want to go for that Body Slam, not the Power Whip there, because Body Slam is just same type attack bonus. Here comes the first Protect Shield. The Clodsire is actually in a tough position. Clodsire reminds me a little bit of Registeel in a way. It gets the energy pretty quickly, but it's only those hard-hitting charge attacks.
Now this is beautiful energy management here by Arceus Aurelus, not throwing directly on the charge move, able to overload on energy so they have plenty on the back end, but the Lickitung able to hang on with 1 HP in a dream and go for the last Body Slam.
Yeah, that is crucial because now you get this Clodsire in range of possibly even a Mud Shot plus Stone Edge or something, because you don't really want to commit to that Earthquake, and here comes the Earthquake, and this is where you have to call it. I mean, they're almost similar energy. It tries to no shield on a Stone Edge bait, but takes the Earthquake instead, but look at the bulk on the Clodsire. It doesn't even really care.
And this is what's so interesting is the Clodsire here from Cristiati is Mud Shot, which is crucial for this matchup because Mud Shot is super effective damage, whereas Arceus Aurelus is Poison Sting, as you guys can see from the animations.
That's huge though, because going for the Stone Edge, trying to get that not very effective, and then Mud-Shotting down, it allowed Arceus to get to that Earthquake, get the last Protect Shield combo play, and now you're gonna double Dark Pulse. All you gotta get is a double Dark Pulse knockout before this Clodsire gets to a Stone Edge. Mandibuzz doesn't have the highest attack. Can it pull it off? I think double Dark Pulse can do it.
Oh, this is gonna be extremely close. Mandibuzz still has a shield. Dark Pulse gonna be almost enough to KO, and this is why energy management is so key in these battles, especially when you're using bulky Pokemon like Mandibuzz and Clodsire, as we do see the knockout.
Yeah, Mandibuzz has been strong so far in London as well. We saw it early in the tournament, and then Arceus able to hold on there. How about the bulk of this team? Having the Clodsire and Mandibuzz cold sense in terms of typing, but because you have coverage to be able to knock out Pokemon as well. How about this Clodsire coverage right here? And the Earthquake does almost knock out. Maybe it would have knocked out in previous seasons, right? Before Earthquake's damage got reduced, but not anymore.
Yeah, as they are able to go into the mirror here. And this was something I was hesitant, or not hesitant to see, but I was excited to see, because it all came down to who had more shields on the Clodsire there at the end for the mirror match, and obviously Arceus Aurelius had the 1-0 shield advantage, able to get the final Dark Pulse out. And Mandibuzz is one of those...
Out, and here is that Shadow Poliwrath in the lead. It's going to be a mirror matchup versus the non-Shadow Poliwrath.
All right, we're going to see who's going to be getting charge attack priority as Icy Wind, the first one to get the debuff, usually wins the lead matchup.
I think you want to go for Scald. It's just such a better attack. And here comes the Scald looking to try to throw on charge attack priority. I think Crisciati knew he was not going to win the charge attack priority, so he's just going to hope and pray that he doesn't get coin flipped on into the Scald not debuff. And it doesn't. He wins the coin flip, and now he gets to go for his own Scald.
Yeah, the Scald here would do enough damage as they're going to go ahead and give up a shield, looking to go for the aggressive farm down. So this is going to be a race between the energy gain of counter. Can they get to the Icy Wind in time? But no, we see a Skarmory swap out.
Yeah, and got the debuff there. So Crisciati started off this game strong, down 0-1 in this series, getting the debuff and then not getting debuffed himself. But he brought in a Skarmory just to protect shield on a debuff Scald. And now does he get debuffed? 0 for 2 for Arceus.
And this is what's crazy, is the Steel Wing is doing resisted damage now because of that water typing there on Poliwrath. So Poliwrath is very comfortable staying in, giving up another shield to get more health away from the Skarmory.
And Crisciati, perfect timing there, throwing the Sky Tech right before the Icy Wind is available. But it looks like Arceus wants to invest into this Poliwrath, use both Protect Shields with it, and got both the Protect Shields back. Does he pivot? Here comes a pivot into the Clodsire, which is really interesting because you don't really have the coverage here to knock out, like you mentioned, running the Poison Sting fast attack, and there's no way a Stone Edge is enough to knock out a Skarmory here.
Yeah, and Skarmory's got to be very careful about the timing of a Brave Bird because they're choosing here now to allow the Stone Edge to do more damage. So I think what they're opting for is not allow this Clodsire to get an aggressive farm down, so the Stone Edge here will knock out.
Yeah, I said no way. Crisciati found a way. All you gotta do is double debuff your defense here and use the Brave Bird. Interesting play there because you could have stayed in the matchup if you wanted to, because I think it'll be hard to Stone Edge and Poison Sting down. Instead, bringing in the Clodsire here, you're gonna take the super effective Earthquake. We all know it's gonna take double Earthquake to take out a Clodsire.
Yes, and this is still tough. There is a Giratina Origin still lurking in the back, and that is a menace in this tournament.
It absolutely is, especially because these Pokemon are running really low in health on Crisciati's side. He does have that Poliwrath with a little bit of energy, but it's just so low health here. And here comes the Giratina Origin. You're going to be able to get into the Earthquake. Do you try to swap on the Earthquake? And no, Arceus does not try to go for the swap onto that Earthquake here. It's going to be able to absorb this Earthquake, but you can now be patient. You can hold on to this energy to try to get a double knockout with your Giratina.
Both trainers have a swap, and they catch the charge move, able to catch the Shadow Ball here from the Giratina Origin.
I think this is a no charge on an Ominous Wind. Oh no, it was a Shadow Ball, you're right. So now it does knock out. That was a huge catch because it was the Ominous Wind. Now it's gonna be a race and trying to catch, but he was way too early. Arceus was a little bit off with his energy. He wasn't near the Earthquake yet, and Clodsire Crisciati gets to the Earthquake and secures the knockout.
We are moving into a Game 3. Crisciati able to overcome and boom! Take down the Giratina Origin.
Fantastic use of the swap. I think they were in similar positions at the end. Arceus and Crisciati both had that Pokemon in the back, but Crisciati was able to swap in and catch the Shadow Ball and not the Ominous Wind and soak all that energy, which put leaning heavily on these Poliwraths, as you can see here. I mean, Arceus literally double Protect Shielded it, but also got both of his Protect Shields back, and then it was almost a 2 versus 1 against the opposing Clodsire. It's actually crazy that Crisciati came out and won this matchup because if you see these backlines, it's pretty much was a full health Clodsire and a full health Giratina versus a lonely Clodsire.
Yeah, I thought it was over. Like, I'm like, oh, there's Giratina Origin in the back. This is going to be a tough uphill battle. But then when I noticed this Shadow Ball, they did one over and threw the Shadow Ball right into it. That was a beautiful catch by Crisciati, and man, what a comeback, right? Clodsire, like 20% HP, facing off against 2 full health Pokemon and able to overcome.
And it was literally the worst case scenario because even the undercharge knocked out. So you wasted all that energy, and most trainers do the undercharge to hopefully do less damage and then get some energy in that for that next matchup. But the no-charge Shadow Ball just knocked out the Poliwrath, and it looks like we are locked into the decisive Game game number 3 between Arceus Aurelius and Cristiati. It is going to be that Shadow Poliwrath one more time versus Clodsire. I think this is a matchup the Shadow Poliwrath loves because you can just get to those Scalds.
Yes, doing super effective damage. Now, counter's going to be resisted here. You do need to watch out for Earthquake. Having that added Shadow typing, you're take a bit more damage, right? So that Earthquake, which would normally get you about 50%, maybe a bit lower, is now going to do a lot more.
And Arceus was 0 for 2 at the lead matchup in that game number 2. Can he get the coin flip? There it is! He was due for one, and then swapping on the Earthquake, catching it, double resisted on the Mandibuzz, a ridiculous sequence.
Oh my goodness, EU does not fail to impress me. Able to catch the resisted Earthquake on Mandibuzz, and now Mandibuzz in a great position right here. Remember, the Scald applied the debuff, so this Stone Edge is not doing as much damage, so Mandibuzz does not need to shield. We're going to see an aggressive farm down.
It does.
An aggressive farm down and a counter swap now into Skarmory.
And now you have this energy banked, you have these Dark Pulses, and you're out of range of Sky Attack. So it's actually a very clunky situation for this Steel type of Cristiati because you don't really want to commit a Brave Bird once you're switch locked, but Mandibuzz is so bulky, you kind of have to just go for these Sky Attacks. But I think it's going to be hard to Sky Attack and then Steel Wing down.
Yeah, I think Skarmory is probably going to have to give up a shield in this situation if they don't go for Brave Bird right away, because the optimal play here might just be loading up on energy, going for a Sky Attack farm down. Let's see, that's what they're looking to do. Now, because of Mandibuzz's bulk, they're going to have to shield because Mandibuzz will just be able to survive this Sky Attack.
Yeah, he hangs on, and like you mentioned, has the Dark Pulse already. So if you want to keep all this energy that you have in the Skarmory, you have to commit. But this is actually quite nice because you're going to get at least 2 to 3 Steel Wings in unless Arceus decides to swap, and then he decides to swap, but he soaks it into the Poliwrath. There are 2 Protect Shields remaining. I believe Cristiati is still switch locked, so this Poliwrath is going to be able to easily counter down. No, it's actually not switch locked, so counter swap in the Poliwrath.
Here, we're right back to the beginning of the matchup as we will see an Icy Wind be thrown. And this is what I love, especially when I'm running a Shadow Poliwrath. The Icy Wind is guaranteed debuff, and when you're in a situation of the 1-to-1 shield, you want to try to get that bait. The opponent knows they got to fear the Scald or the potential Dynamic Punch. I know in this situation we only have Scald and Icy Wind, but for those at home, Icy Wind is a little bit lower energy. It applies guaranteed attack debuff, and we will see another no shield on the Icy Wind.
And because Arceus wants to invest everything into this Poliwrath, I wouldn't be surprised if he Protect Shields the Scald here because you don't really want to Ice Shard down on your Dugong. Looks like Arceus is going to try to finish off this Poliwrath elsewhere. The Mandibuzz is going to struggle. The Dugong's going to struggle. This is actually quite tough.
No,
you're going to be able to get a debuff.
This is perfect. The Icy Wind debuffs allow the counters to do way less damage. So now Ice Shard at this health range is going to be able to farm down and be able to resist the Skull. Now they just got to pray that they don't get the attack debuff.
And you do get the attack debuff, but luckily you hung on to that Mandibuzz at 1 health, so you can always clear that debuff if you want. And Cristiati can also clear his debuff, but the thing is, he's just going to get Ice Shard down pretty much. Do try to swap on the Sky Attack here. The swap on the Sky Attack, the patience by Cristiati. He banks the Sky Attack and then gets the Mud Shot down. So remember, for the end game, there is a Sky Attack remaining. So if you can get a Protect Shield on this Stone Edge, it is not over for Cristiati.
Oh my goodness, Icy Wind going to be coming through, gets the final shield. Stone Edge not available yet, so we will see the second Icy Wind get the knockout, and then Skarmory is all that's left.
Yeah, and there is that Protect Shield remaining for Arceus, so 1 Ice Shard does it. Arceus takes it 2-1 against Cristiati.
What an incredible set of battles between these two trainers. Huge congratulations to Arceus Aurelius and Cristiati. Masterful gameplay, right? That was amazing.
And kind of similar styles too, because Shadow Poliwrath was heavily featured in here, and of course, so was Clodsire. We got a Clodsire mirror early on, and both trainers were just bringing it every single time, and I really like how they utilized it because they were able to bounce around with their switch timers.
Yeah, and the Clodsires, I think we're going to be seeing, that's going to be the story of this tournament is Clodsire. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Vancouver top 3 all had Clodsire as well, which is going to be, I could be wrong there. There was I'll say this, there was a recent tournament where the top 3 all had Clodsire, and I think that's going to be a Pokemon to look out for this whole weekend. It came as a community day last year, and it really hasn't shined too much in the Play Pokemon Tournament series, but with how this meta is shaking up, the added bulk that it has, the coverage that it has, is incredible for this meta.
I think it is a smart pick if you are expecting the adjustment from Gligar, because if it's a heavy Gligar meta, you do not love to use Clogsire
No.
because Gligar is just the king of the grounds. It just beats all those other ground types. But look at this matchup. You have Skarmory on one side from Crisciati, and then of course you have the Mandibuzz on the other side. So suddenly, if it opens up, it is so useful. You just kind of have to get a little lucky in avoiding those Gligars for as long as possible.
Yeah, and a beautiful, masterful play here from Crisciati, able to clutch the win, landing the Earthquakes against Giratina. Again, I thought he was down for the count, right? Facing off against a mirror match Clodsire, and having to take that down with double Earthquake, and then having to get rid of a Giratina as well, able to catch the Mandibuzz, or catch the Earthquake on Mandibuzz. These were beautiful plays in this recent set of battles.
Yeah, and this was the dynamic you were talking about. Sometimes you just want to go for that debuff, and you just want to go for that Icy Wind, and especially in that situation when you had the Dugong in the back, you wanted to get that Poliwrath weakened as much as possible so you could secure that energy that you needed for that end game, of course, where you're able to outpace that Clodsire with a double Icy Wind before the